So we know these people. Geno Salvatore and R.A. wrote the Stone of Tomorrow trilogy. Geno also worked on the Neverwinter Tales comics. And then, of course, we have R.A. Salvatore, a New York Times bestseller list author and creator, of course, of Drizzt. So let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, the last time I was at this convention, there were less people at the convention than there are in this room.
So you guys just got into Halifax last night, right?
Yeah.
How you guys? Did you have much time to look around, or?
No. It was dark when we got in.
Is this your first trips to Canada, Geno, or?
Not to Canada. It's my first time to Halifax, though. I've been
All right,
to
excellent.
other parts.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is we have a mic there, and people will be able to line up and start asking your questions. I'll just get things going with the first one here. So the Stone of Tomorrow trilogy is credited as both of you. How was the writing divided?
I did most of the writing, the actual bulk of it. So the reason the Stone of Tomorrow exists is because Wizards of the Coast wanted a specifically young adult book from him, but he was writing an awful lot of books and also working with 38 Studios at the time.
I also tried to explain to them that all of the Drizzt books can qualify as young adult books, but they wanted something different.
Well, they wanted something for the Mirrorstone line, which is their specifically young adult book line, which no longer exists.
And which went out of existence a month before, the Stowaway came out. Yeah.
So what that meant, though, he didn't have the time to actually write another book. So by co-writing it, he got his input on it, and he did write some of it. He did all that stuff. Hey, there we go. But he helped with the outline. He helped with the story. He edited it basically daily. He was a great reference, a great resource, but the bulk of the actual writing is mine. And
yeah, and I got to do a couple of the scenes I really wanted to do. And for those of you that don't know what the Stone of Tomorrow is, let me explain it this way. It's a Drizzt book that takes place the same time as the Halfling's Gem. And I actually got to rewrite some of my favorite scenes from the Halfling's Gem. Think of a dwarf on a chariot, a flaming chariot attacking pirates. I got to write those scenes from a different perspective in the book. Those were the scenes I insisted on writing. It's a Drizzt book that takes place Halfling's Gem through the Legacy, really. And then the characters like Mayman show up in the Pirate King and in future books. It's a Drizzt book. And I only made the deal with Wizards that we would do this trilogy in young adult section because I knew that a lot of the people who read the Drizzt books would never see it. I know how fantasy readers are. They go into a bookstore and they walk right to the fantasy section and there's nothing else in the store as far as they're concerned. So I knew that. And I said, all right, well then we'll do these books, but you have to promise me that when they're done, you're going to take them all and put them together in one volume and put it over in the Drizzt section where it belongs. And now it is. And if you've seen it, the cover on this book is awesome.
It's great.
Yeah.
All right, so anyone who has questions, feel free to step up to the mic here. I think Drizzt is going first.
Looks like everyone else.
He's wearing swords. He'll go when he wants to go.
We know what Tingle does. I'm not touching that.
Yeah. My question was going to be, how do I pronounce my name? But I've heard you say it already.
No, it's Drizzt.
Drizzt?
Or Drizzt.
I've always said Drizzt.
You got to buzz the Z, Drizzt.
Yeah.
I never answer that question the same way twice for a good reason. No, serious. There's two reasons, actually. The primary one for me is marketing. Because I picture these two kids in a high school hallway, right? It's Drizzt, it's Drizzt, it's Drizzt, it's Drizzt. Third kid comes up and says, what the hell are you talking about? You never read these books? And I win.
Yeah.
You see? But the other side of that is the way you pronounce a character's name in a fantasy book is the way you pronounce a character's name in a fantasy book.
Touche.
And I remember I was a big Dune fan, and it was Baron Harkonnen. And then I saw the movie, and it was Harkonnen. And it blew me away, and I didn't like it, and I was really mad. And I actually yelled at Brian Herbert when I met him a couple of years ago. It's Harkonnen, it's not Harkonnen. So, you know, you pronounce it the way that feels right for you, and nice outfit.
Oh, thank you.
I'm seeing Drow where I go now. It's really cool. Dark, we're going to take over. You guys haven't figured it out yet. We're going to take over.
And the other really quick one I had is I've had people say they wanted to read a book to learn more about Driss. If you could say one book in the series to recommend someone to read to get the best concept of the character, which one would you say it would be?
Oh, come on. How hard is that? Homeland.
Homeland.
Yeah, Homeland.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I wish I could say I could
No,
go to
I would say the Stone of
costume
Tomorrow.
contest.
Yeah, he'd say Stone of Tomorrow.
Smooth.
Thanks.
This is going to be a question basically for the edition split. Towards the end of, I guess, 3.5-ish, when you were still writing with the whole crew still there, it felt as though you'd gone as far as you really wanted to go with them. Did you find it was a relief to have a new palette to work with, or was it?
No, I hadn't gone as far as I wanted to go with him. But the things I was planning to do with him were made easier, actually, by the 100-year jump and 4th edition. Because, see, my plan with Dritz in the Transition series, now particularly the Neverwinter series, was for all of the time I'd been writing about Dritz, it was buddy fantasy, right? He had surrounded himself with people who were very much like him, who would take an arrow aimed at him, right? They'd jump in front of him. Now he's surrounded by people who will pull him in front of them to catch the arrow. So it becomes that whole issue of when someone falls in with the wrong crowd, or when if you have a friend, a dear friend who is getting very serious with a partner, and you know this person's really bad for them, but there's nothing you can do about it. So it becomes the question of do these people bring Dritz down, or does he lift them up, or do they meet somewhere in the middle? And I didn't know the answer to that. So I was going there either way. This made it easier to go there, and not in a way I would have preferred. But
So
it's their playground.
I guess the next step, would you want to slowly bring it back now that we have next edition coming out to where he was in order to, I guess,
I can't
or?
answer that. The last Threshold's coming out in March. It's already done. It's in the bank, and it surprised the heck out of me, and I think it will you too. Sorry, Dritz. The Wizards of the Coast is doing 5th edition now, and they're not doing it the way they did 4th edition at all. With 4th edition, I got a little booklet. I was flying out to Gen Con. This little booklet said, this is what's coming. You're going to love it. We got out there, and we were asked for our input. We gave our input. Not all of it was positive. And there was me and Ed Greenwood and a couple of other writers. And then they were going to do what they were going to do, because it was already set in stone. We did get some changes that we wanted in there, and I remember leaving the meeting, and Ed Greenwood said to me, what are we going to do? And I said, we're going to be smarter than them. We're going to think about the long game. And now with 5th edition, they've changed completely. They knew that these changes were coming to the game, so they called me up, and they called Ed up, and they said, how will this affect the world? And we said, well, a lot. And okay, so what do you suggest we do? And my suggestion to them, kind of quietly in the backside, was if you want to bring the Forgotten Realms back to anything the fans are going to love, the first thing you need to do is you need to put Ed Greenwood in charge of it. And they did. And it's his world. He made it when he was 8 years old. That's true. So they called me and Ed and Paul Kemp, who's awesome, and Aaron Evans, who is awesome, and Richard Lee Byers, who is awesome. And they asked, who else should be in part of the series. And my suggestion was Troy Denning. And they backed me up because Troy was one of the original Realms guys, knows how to play well in the sandbox. And the 6 of us were brought in a room at Wizards. Paul and Aaron were on the phone. They couldn't make it. But we were all there in this conference summit, and they said, here's what's happening to the world. Here's what's happening to the game. How will this affect the world? And they let us decide. And that's the book I'm working on now, the first book in the series called The Sundering. I'm doing the first book. I think Richard's doing the second book. Aaron, Paul, Troy, and Ed finishes the series. It's a 1 year. It's coming, all 6 books in 1 year. We're not sharing characters. We're not sharing storylines, but the big meta series is going on behind it. So you're going to see all the changes coming through the Forgotten Realms, through the eyes of different characters in different places. And that's the way they should have done it all along. And they know that now, and I think it's going to kick butt, honestly. I'm having a blast, so.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually released a big promotional picture for the Sundering with all the characters and Dritz's dead center himself.
And I won't tell you any of the ones you don't know. That was coming, wasn't it? Yeah. No, it's not going to happen.
Hal-Con.